Hey out there, legal warriors. When is too much of a good thing bad? I'm talking about calling your lawyer too often. Well, that's exactly the opposite of what I normally talk about. But I recently had an associate in my office come to me with a difficult time she was having with a client that was calling every day. And there's some reasons that you might not think about why that might not be a good thing in trying to help a case. So if you're interested in this area of the law, stay tuned. This is the video for you. My name is Attorney Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. My law firm has been defending people charged with crimes for more than 20 years in Washington State, and we're putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get to see it, therefore more people get the help they need. Now I'm just going to jump right into it. If you are a subscriber to this station, you've probably seen videos, fairly recent videos even, that say, hey, communicate with your attorney. It helps us help you. If you have a question, please let us know, right? It's those are the general rules of thumb. But I have learned that sometimes too much communication from client to attorney can be detrimental to the representation. And let's go into a few examples. Number one, from the attorney's point of view. So a criminal defense attorney, and I'm talking about criminal defense, what I've learned from doing this for 30 years is a really good defense attorney really cares about their clients and really is up against it emotionally, anxiety-wise, and everything, because we stand between imprisonment and ruined lives and the government, right? And we're trying to get the government to let our clients go and try to develop defenses while trying to counsel our clients too. And so we're sort of on, if you're really good, you're helping a lot of people, and you're sort of, on this teeter-totter, almost, about the razor's edge between being overwhelmed and being confident. And so if a client is calling their attorney, let's say every day, with the same questions again and again, that can sometimes demotivate the attorney to help, because maybe the client's not listening. Maybe we feel bad about ourselves because we're not able to communicate effectively to the client. And, that doesn't feel good, right? That if our client is still anxious and still has questions every day, that can demotivate us in the situation. We can also do other things. An attorney might move more quickly to try to resolve the case so they can get rid of the difficult client. Now, hopefully that's not something we would do, but I bet some people would. It's like try to recommend a worse offer than we might otherwise get, because the mental stress on the attorney is so much from the client. It's constant contact. And, again, we never want to discourage it, but this video is about, how too much contact could hurt the representation, the results, the relationship. From the client's point of view, if you happen to be on an hourly billing situation, and my firm bills flat rates and most criminal attorneys do, but let's say a family law attorney is a great example. Every time you call that attorney, you might be incurring more costs, right? Which is going to be worse for you if you're incurring more costs if you call again and again and again each and every day. So that's something that you want to avoid. Additionally, it can strain the relationship between you and your attorney if they don't think that you're listening to them, or they don't think they're able to help you. Eventually, especially an attorney in high demand, they might drop you, right? You've got the right to withdraw from your case, just like you have the right to fire us. So we want to try to make sure that that doesn't happen inadvertently just due to anxiety or things like that. If you're having to reach out to your attorney every day, assuming you're actually talking to them and you're just not getting a return call, that's different. You might want to think about if you might need emotional support in another area. Now, a good attorney is going to do their best to provide a reasonable amount of emotional support, but it's not our job to be the therapist. It's not our job, nor are we probably qualified to deal with depression or high levels of anxiety that might need to be worked out with a more therapeutic situation, right? So that's another area where it can end up hurting you if you're attempting too much contact with your attorney. Another thing that you might not realize, it can actually interfere with strategy, right? A defense attorney has many different ways we can approach a case, all based upon what our defenses are. Maybe we have none. We have to take a more person-based or prosecutor-based approach. What our treatment options are for the client. Maybe it's a more treatment-based approach, or maybe it's a strong factual approach, right? And we want to just say, hey, you can't prove it. Maybe it's a combination of all three. And so I've been involved in cases where I thought the best course of action was one of those examples, let's say a prosecutor-based approach, because I thought I had enough good facts about the client that talking about the weaknesses in the facts would be enough with some good actions from the client to be able to get the prosecutor to let the client go. But I've seen repeated communications be so much, and the client's so focused on the factual defense, and they can't sort of wrap their head around how it might work the other way, that is probably more likely to be successful, that we get so annoyed that we finally give up, because we have other clients to help, and now let's go hire an investigator, and we start going down this factual defense line, which generally speaking is going to be less successful than other defense tactics in non-felony cases, right? We definitely want to talk about factual defenses, but oftentimes the client's belief in being able to develop a factual defense isn't really accurate, right? That there's more witnesses against us than for us, and usually the prosecutor may not care. I've got a video that one's entitled "Don't Cut Too Soon" about hitting the prosecutor with heavy facts early in the case is usually a bad idea, because they're not set up to think about the case in that way in a pretrial negotiating basis. So sometimes these repeated communications, if a client wants one thing and they're really not listening, can make us change our strategy to the detriment of the client, because while defense attorneys, good ones, are really good, we still can't absolutely predict the future, right? My office is a team, right? We're a team of 7 attorneys at this point. They might be, what should we do with this and what should we do with that? And we're always trying to make our best judgments from decades of experience to help. And it's best to give your attorney a little bit of room so they can figure out what to do. So how can we avoid this, right? How can you strike that balance between being informed versus being detrimental to your case? Well, ironically, the first thing is some really clear communication early on. Hey, attorney, how often can I expect updates? What should I expect from you? And if I have questions, how should I handle that? If you were going to ask that to our firm, we would prefer that you schedule a call, either text us or call us. That's one example, right? There's all types of different firms with what those questions are, so we can get something on the calendar to be prepared to answer them. Let's have one prepared session where we talk about your 5, your 10, your 15 questions, whatever you have, so we can give you the attention you deserve. And then what could you do? Well, you could write down the answers, right? Write them down, and that way you have them and you can refer to them later. It can be very frustrating for the attorney to feel they're answering the same questions again and again and again. And we understand that does happen because, sometimes it's hard to take in the information as a client when we're under a lot of stress. And the other thing that we have to understand as attorneys is that usually the client's information is from how things work is from watching TV. And for most lawyer shows, it's nowhere near accurate how it works. Early on Better Call Sauls, I think those are the most accurate how lower level criminal defense works, where you're dealing less with facts and more with relationships and more with outcomes that make sense for everybody. Another thing you can do is utilize those other ways to ask the questions, right? If your attorneys have a texting system, text the question, and then maybe even someone else in the firm can answer. So it won't disturb your attorney. When's my next court date is not something the attorney needs to answer. Hopefully their staff is going to answer. Another tip, if you send an email, do yourself a favor, and why don't you either text or call the front desk of your defense attorneys and tell them you sent the email so we know to find it. I don't know about you all, but I'm terrible with email. I got so many emails, I miss emails all the time. And so I just tell my clients outright, hey, if you have an email you sent, please let me know so I can find it. And I'm not trying to ignore you, but, we all have our preferred methods of communication. I think the final thing you can do is, be patient with your attorneys. If you've chosen the right one, they're trying to help you. And if they have good reviews, they're probably going to do a good job helping you. And we're only as good as you are good. And so for the most part, lean towards more communication, but these videos about the reasons why too much communication could be bad and be detrimental to your case. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. And more importantly, if you've got a criminal matter in Washington State and you think you need some help, feel free to give my office a call. If we get on board, we'll listen to what happened, we'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.